Okay, this is a continuation of the Advanced Math Chapter 2 review. We'll go ahead and go to the next page. Graph each function. Once again, we're back to the step function. All right, I know my anchor point here is 0, -1. So there's my point there. All right. My base points are 1, 1, 2, 2, -1, -1, -2, -2. Okay? I'm going to take this negative, I'm going to multiply everything by -1. So that's going to give me -1, -2, 1, and 2. Okay, so from that anchor point, I'm going to go 1 right, 1 down, 2 right, 2 down. Whoops, made a mistake there. 2 right, 2 down. This one's left 1, up 1. Left 2, up 2. From that anchor point, left 2, up 2. Okay, once again, I'm drawing over. When I get to the next line, I put a little open circle. Okay, and there's your step function. Okay, absolute value, once again, my anchor point here is going to be 2, 0. My base points for this, x, y, 1, 1, 2, 2, -1, 1, -2, 2. I'm going to multiply by -1/3. Okay, so that's -1/3, -2/3, -1/3, and -2/3. Okay? Alright, so that means I'm going to go 1 over, about 1/3 down, 2 over, about 2/3 down, left 1/3. Okay, so you're going to have an absolute value. Okay, so I went left 1, about down 1/3, left 2, down 2/3. Okay, pretty simple what we've been doing. Okay, it says given the transformation, write an absolute value equation. Okay, so I'm going to have y equals, okay, left 2 units. Okay, that's my left 2. Remember, I do opposite. 7 down, I'm going to follow. Okay, so that was opposite, follow. Okay, all right. This says a reflection across the x-axis, which means it's got to be negative. Okay, an amplitude of 5 with 3/8 units up. Okay, so what that's going to look like is a -5 in there because of the reflection. Okay, I'm going to have an x inside. There was no left or right shift. 3/8 up would be that, and that would be your answer. Okay, this one, an amplitude of 2/3, 1 left, 2 up. Okay, so that's 2/3, 1 left. Remember, opposite, 2 up. Okay, they want me to graph this one. So my anchor point here is -1, 2. Okay, -1, 2. All right. I'm going to use my key points. That's 1, 1, 2, 2. All right, -1, 1, -2, 2. All right, I'm just going to multiply by 2/3. So that's going to be 2/3, 4/3. Okay, 2/3, 4/3. Sorry about the squished. So that's 1, 2/3, 1 over to the right, 2/3 up. 2 right, 4/3 up. Okay, -1, 2/3 up. And -2, 4/3 up. I go ahead and I connect those through my points. Okay, and that is my answer. All right, moving on to the final page. Okay, we have to come up with the equations of these. Okay, all right. Now what you should do is figure out some coordinates here that you know. For instance, look at these dark ones. I know that that is 1 over 2 up. This one right here. I also know that that is -2, -1. Okay? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let my calculator help me, all right, make an equation. All right? So what I'm going to do, because the slope of this is a line in all essence. Okay, so I'm going to go to menu, I'm going to go to stat, and I'm going to put some of these points in. 1 over, 2 up, and then I got -2 over, -1 down. Okay, on my calculator, I'm going to hit calculate, regression, x. Okay, now on yours, you'll go to ax plus b. You just hit that one, and what this tells you, basically all we care about here is we care about only this part up. So what that means is I'm going to have a 1 in front of the step function, okay? And then I'm also going to have a 1 after the step function, okay? And And that's a very simple way to do the equation of that step function. It's much harder to find the anchor point because you can't really tell where the center part is there. All right. Let's see. I gotta clear that out. Cut or delete. All right. All right. So let me exit out of that. All right. Moving down. Okay. All right. What you should do here on this absolute value. Okay. I've got an anchor point. My anchor point's at -1, -2. So here's what I know. I already know this. I know it's going to be x plus 1. All right, I know it's going to be going to be -2 on the outside. Okay, so we follow on the outside. We go opposite of the inside. Now, as you can see, I really don't have a clear point till I'm about here. Okay, now there's two ways to look at this. You can do it this way. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can do it that way. Okay, or what you could do is look at what the coordinate of that is. That's 3, -1, okay? And what I could do is I could go to the calculator and find the slope, because that's really where I'm finding, okay? So that's going to be -1, -2, all right? And then I'm also going to do 3, -1, okay? It's already done for me, all right? And if I find the regression, all right, it gives me a point set. Now here, all we care about here is the slope. We don't care about the y-intercept. It's 1/4 or 0.25. Now you got to be careful. You got to look. If this is going up, okay, that's going to be positive. If it would have went down, regardless of what it gives me for the slope, I would have put a negative there. So 1/4 is the answer. Okay. On this one, very similar to what I did over there. I'm going to want to find what this equation is. All right. So I'm going to pick out these 2 points. That coordinate is 0, -3. That coordinate is 2, 1, 2, 3. That's -2, 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the equation of that, doing the same exact thing I just did. Okay. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to put -2. Negative 22. 3. I'm going to use 0, -3. Okay. And I'm going to calculate that regression. And I got -3. Now I don't care about this r and all that stuff. But I do the -3 in front of x, the -3 after. So what I got here, okay, is for that first one, I got y equals -3x, okay, -3, all right? And where I have to figure out, all right, when I make my piecewise deal, okay, I got to figure out, well, I've got an open circle at 0, okay? So from 0, and it's going to be less than, because it's going to the left. So x is less than 0 from -3x. All right, -3. Okay, and you can check that by substituting in values. Okay, if I substituted in -1, okay, you would get about that answer. Okay, you would get about 0, which is probably the best approximation there. Okay, now for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the point 0, 1. I'm also going to use the point 1, 2, 3, 3, 2. Okay, to come up with that equation. You can also count the spaces if you like. Either way is an appropriate way to do it. All right, so I'm at 0, 1. All right, and then I'm at 3, 2. All right, and once again, I'm going to calculate the regression. 0.3 is about 1/3, and my y-intercept is going to be 1. Okay, so I got 1/3 x plus 1. Now, where was this from? I had a closed circle on 0. Okay, I had a closed circle on 0. All right, so it was, I had a closed circle on 0, and I had an open circle on 3. Okay, if you substitute those values in, that would work as well. Okay, and I think that's going to be it for the sample test. Okay, make sure on these things you really watch yourself on substituting values. Make sure you've plotted correct points. Watch these lines underneath, depending whether they're open or closed circles. If you do that and go over your quizzes, you should do well on the test.